Good morning, welcome back. Side stand today. The last job before the MOT. The side stand seems to be too short. The bike was lowered when I got it, and now I've jacked it up to its standard factory ride height. It's leaning over too far. First thing you consider is, was the side stand shortened when it was lowered? That's very common. You do it easy. You just cut the foot off right at the bottom. You cut off whatever you need to shorten it, and then you weld the foot back on. Ever so easy. So is that what's happened here? No, it isn't. Looking at my side stand, it's completely factory standard. It's a Gen 1 side stand. It's not from a different bike, and it hasn't been bent. It is standard in every way. So why is it leaning over so far? Why isn't it working? It's because I think all the free play in the joint. I'm going to check it out. Look at that. That's an insane amount of flex in a stand. Japanese bikes have these clevis stands. You've got the frame bracket itself, you've got the pin that goes through, and the actual stand, and all three of them share the wear. And as 20 years go by of up and down, with sometimes not enough lubricant on the pivot, it wears out and it wears bigger and it welly boots, and you end up with this. And at the point of the foot here, and I think this is where the problem lies, if I lift that, I've got almost 2 inches of lift before that stops and locks the bike on its stand. And that 2 inches is the bike leaning over too far. At least I hope so. So the first task, before I think about surgery on this to make it longer, I don't think that's it. I think it's all in that joint. So I'm going to whip it off, clean it up, see how much wear is in there, and consider what way I might fix that and rectify that wear so I can put it back on and it's nice and rigid like it should be from new, and it will stand up at the right height, hopefully. So let's get stuck in. Right, you saw that. First bolt, crack, whiz, straight out, no problem. Fantastic. That's the 2 bolts that hold the side stand bracket into the frame casting itself. Second bolt, crack, gone tight. Nothing. It's gone absolutely tight. It will not move. It's got about 1/8 of a turn backwards and forwards of movement, but it's not going anywhere. It feels like thread lock. Possibly someone's put a red thread lock in there. It is an important fastener. It bolts the side stand into the frame. So I'm hoping it's just thread lock, and a little bit of heat will melt that thread lock. So I'm gonna get some heat on it gently. It's in an area I really don't want to heat that much. There's rubber seals and all sorts around the area. It's a frame casting, but it's right next to the gearbox, and it's just not the sort of place you want to get too hot. So a little bit of gentle heat, a little bit of aero coil, and an awful lot of patience. I'm gonna see if I can get that other one out. Right, okay, here we are an hour later and no further forward. A quarter of a turn is all I got on that. A quarter of, just under. In fact, like 12 o'clock to 10 o'clock is about all I'm getting. And it's a crunchy, grinding movement as well. It's not nice. So with 20 odd turns still to go, that's not worth it. I know what's wrong with that. That's a cross thread. I've seen that before. I've had it before with frame mounting bolts and so on. That's a big aluminium fine thread. It's an M12 fine bolt, that length. And it's gone all the way in. It threads all the way up. It's like an 1.5 inch long thread. Now, yeah, I could get that out easy enough, put the big impact gun on it, or better still, just get a massive bar on it, lean on it, and you probably twist the head off. And then you've got to repair it because it's not bolted on anymore. I only wanted to take the bracket off to clean it up and put it back on, just being thorough. But I can return it back to its seat, torque it back up, and it's fine. It tightens up nicely. It's not crossed in the way that it's moving. It's actually not moving. No amount of heat or penetrating oils touching it, so it's not rust or corrosion. It's just a cross thread. It's metal to metal. It's locked up solid in there and it's not going anywhere. So lock it back in place, torque it in, step back from it and do it another day. I want to get this MOT'd. I will know about that and I will come back to it. It's wrong on every level to leave a bolt that's damaged. Yes, I know that. Absolutely, hands up. But I've got no choice. Breaking that off today puts me in a world of hurt and hours of work on something that really could have just gone crack and come straight out. That's the way it goes with old bikes. So there we are. Admitting defeat, do it back up, take the stand off and get on with the job. Right, okay, that's got it nice and clean. You can see it now. I've got the stand and the bracket and the pin. The stand and the bracket have a hole in and the pin is round. Let's see if that's round and the holes in there are still round, because that could be the issue. The pin itself, that's the little shouldered pin that goes through the two of them and holds them in place. Let's see if that's nice and round still. Just measuring on the shiny bit, which has obviously been doing the bearing of the wear and tear. Hold it in the caliper. 13.6 mil, rotate it, needle's not moving, no problem. Nope, that's fine. So that pin's nice and round. Look at the stand itself. There's a hole there in the back. You can see if that's still a hole and not an oval. So sideways on, 14.2 mil, and then go 90 degrees from that, 14.2.5 mil, literally 14.25. So that hole is oval that way, but by such a tiny amount, that's not my problem. And the hole in the frame bracket itself, sideways on, 14.1 mil, go that way, 14.15 mil. So both the hole in the frame bracket and the hole in the actual stand are ovaled by 0.5 of a millimeter. That's not my problem. That's not the issue. I think what the problem here is the clevis has been bent open. That's quite common because obviously it gets that pressure all the time, year on year. People who sit on their bikes on the side stand and lean on it at the same time, that opens up the clevis as well. It just bends it apart with all that leverage against it. So I'm going to straighten that up in the vise first. Pop it back in place. There we go. Nice tight fit now. Check that out. You remember at the beginning when that was lifting up, put that in my hand, that was lifting 2 inches. Check it now. Half inch, if that. So we've taken out practically all the slop in the side stand just by re-pinching that clevis back together where it had stretched open. It's as simple as that. Not even permanent wear. So the moral of the story is, don't sit on your bike on the side stand. That's what it does. In wear and tear is going to do it as well, fair enough. But look, I'm going to bolt that back on, grease it up, get it on the floor, stand it on the stand and see if that has done it. Right, just took a little burr off the end of the shouldered bolt in the lathe there. The circumference of that over years of a lardy Hayabusa leaning on it kind of squashes it and plasticines it in. It actually shoves some of that steel forward and it makes a hooky burr hang over the front. And when you bolt it in, it's not bolting up tight. The flange on the back of the bolt is not bolting up tight against the back of the stand, and therefore it will continue to allow that clevis joint to stretch back out again. Now that will bolt all the way in, as I've just took that lip off, and again that lip only develops through years of being squashed, and it squashes its way forward. You can feel it. It's not a nice 90-degree corner, it's literally a hook over, like a burr that you get on the head of a chisel. Just took that edge off, and that's now an absolutely perfect fit. Okay, that's taken out over half of the excessive lean that was there. That's now completely workable and I'm happy with that. That would be okay, especially seeing as where we live, it's quite slopey sometimes and not always on the flat, and having a stand that's nice and sure-footed, that's over just a little bit further, that can actually be a bonus. But you know what? While I'm at it, while I'm doing it, I'm going to thicken up the foot just a little bit. Just put an extra layer of steel underneath that foot just to get it absolutely perfect. It's all right as it is, but it could be just a little tiny bit more upward, just a little bit, and then it'd be perfect. So let's do that. Right, there it is, done. I can't do anything else. There's nothing else now that is a bona fide job that I can make into a video for you that's worth doing before the MOT. It's ready. Everything is on the button. All I have to do now is go through every nut, bolt and washer and make sure it's tight, every torque setting and check it with the torque wrench. And there's a couple of other tiny peripheral things. I've put some silicone on the exhaust silencer and seal that and make sure everything is absolutely perfect. Check the tire pressures, check the levels and go. Now, it's Friday at the time of filming this and it's Monday. I've booked the MOT 3 p.m. So in the next video, I'm gonna put the cameras on the bike and a camera on me and we're gonna go and get an MOT test. Whether we get an MOT certificate remains to be seen by the end of that day. So wish me luck, take it easy, ride safe. And I'll see you next week for a ride on the road.